The Truth and Reconciliation Commission released its 94 calls to action exactly 10 years ago today. Thousands of residential school survivors shared their testimonies and shaped the final report. The calls to action were bold and costly, not just directed at government, but also at schools, communities, churches, and Indigenous governments. The goal? To repair the relationship between Indigenous people and the rest of Canada. Marie Wilson was one of the Truth and Reconciliation Commissioners. She joins us now to talk about where we're at and where we still need to go. Marie, what do you think of the progress that Canada has made so far over the last decade?
Where we are with the 94 calls to action is that a lot of work has been done, I would say broadly in the field of education. Those of us who grew up knowing absolutely nothing about this, we know that our children and grandchildren are learning things in school that we did not learn. We know that universities by and large have come on side with mandatory courses for graduation, for example. Really, many of them have Indigenous strategies and also Indigenous studies programs that were not full departmental programs before. So there's been progress, but there's still a huge amount of work to do. And what I think about today, because everyone's wondering about the 94, where are we, how many are done, how many are not? And I think, the bigger challenge is not to count and check off the box, but rather to say, have we hit a point in Canada where we have started to really fundamentally shift our relationships between and among Indigenous and non-Indigenous peoples? Are we making those systemic changes that go well beyond the specifics of the calls to action, but go to the spirit of nation-to-nation relationships?
Do you feel as though we are living out reconciliation in Canada more so than a decade ago? Like where are we at in those kind of points that you're looking at?
Well, I think yes, definitely. And I think the North, as often is the case, has been a leader in all of that, certainly in terms of curriculum development and making learning mandatory in our school system. The Northwest Territories and Nunavut jointly were the first ones in the country to make that so for all children, not just Indigenous children, to understand that this is not an Indigenous issue. And then the Yukon was quickly to follow. So I think the North has championed the educational piece and led the country in many, many ways. I think we're inching forward. I wish we could move forward at huge, rapid pace, but we're inching forward.
Last week, we aired a story from the Yukon about work being done there to locate unmarked graves, and an elder with that project expressed concern about people denying that residential school history. And I wonder, what are you seeing when it comes to that?
I think it's a huge and ongoing challenge. And when I talk about this being an issue for all Canadians, I really hope that Canadians writ large will speak up and talk about the need to continue the work to find and identify the missing children. And I often make the comparison, Lenny, to our military structures. We would never in a million years think of not making every effort to bring down fallen soldiers from other countries. And we know that there are thousands of children who never returned from residential schools. We've never done even the minimum of building a national registry of all those missing children. That work is underway now, thanks to the TRC and the continuing work of the National Center for Truth and Reconciliation. But we do need to continue that work.
What are some of the next steps that you'd like to see the North take?
Well, right here, I'm involved with a group of people who are working towards having a monument here in the Northwest Territories, a territorial monument to make sure that in the generations to come, we are remembering and we are honoring not just those who didn't return from schools, but all those who went through schools and whose lives and whose families' lives were totally altered as a consequence of those experiences. The kind of modeling that I referred to before that I think this part of the country offers the rest of the country, I hope our northern voices will be strong at those national and even international tables, and that they will be able to hold up the North as an example, as a positive example of not only that it's possible to work together, but it is a huge benefit to everyone to work together, and that we'll be able to demonstrate that to the rest of the country.
Okay, thank you for joining us, Marie.
Great to be here. Thank you very much. And shall I say happy anniversary to us all? It's not my anniversary, it's not the TRC's anniversary. This anniversary and this ongoing work belongs to all Canadians.